part of the reason I grew and the reason I was built intentionally was like my kidney issues. I was diagnosed early 2000 on that. And so I knew I was going to need to go into have a transplant eventually. And so I had to build a team that could survive or manage whatever. We grew 30% while I was out.
Give people outcomes, tell them how they're going to be compensated for said outcomes, and then let them figure it out, even if it takes longer, slower. They might not do it as fast as you, as quick as you. As entrepreneurs, you have two options. You could do it now by when you have the option to do it, or you could do it when you're forced. Like for me, when I got in the hospital with COVID, I was just pulled out of my business and then thrown into this jail cell for freaking 4 months. You can get forced to do it like I was, or you could just do it when you're not forced and you have way more time and you could do it the way you want. Yeah.
I've always been about creating opportunity for my team, and we couldn't grow fast enough to create the opportunities. So now we have a partner that's going to help us grow fast enough, that has the capital to do that. He's going to help us with the resources. And now we can really raise the tide. I want to build this to $5 million and then we'll sell it and I'll be able to retire.
Welcome everybody to the Albi After Hours podcast, where we talk about propelling the restoration industry forward. I'm your host, Alex Theodore, and today I'm excited to be at RIA with an industry veteran, 30 plus years in the industry, grew a company to over $33 million of revenue in the Arizona market, recently had an interesting win, which we'll talk about, and also thought leader in the space, Russ Palmer. How's it going, Russ?
I'm good. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. That's a long time in the industry, 30 some years. Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I want to make sure that, we touch on a couple of stuff. Like obviously you had a recent acquisition that I want to talk about. You had kidney surgery and your business did not explode while you were going on that. So I want to talk about that. And then you have this interesting theory that you're trying to prove out that is true, that we can get north of $1 million of revenue per employee in restoration, perhaps. So that's kind of just laying the path of what I want our viewers to listen to. But I guess we should get started with your story, because I think where did it all start? How'd you get in restoration? A little bit about you.
Okay, so everybody always asks, how did it start? 100% by accident, going to college to be an accountant, right? Really fun, exciting industry. But I bought a carpet cleaning van. So I was cleaning carpets for a property management company at, when I wasn't going to school or at night. Really good because it's mainly vacant units. So, hey, we just need these done by this day and whatever that looks like. And so eventually I came across one that was flooded and I was like, ooh, all right, what do I do here? Asked a bunch of questions, reached out. This is, probably what started my industry, kind of introduced me to networking. So reach out to your vendors, hey, don't know what I'm doing here. Reach out to your vendors, start reaching out to the people that are smarter than you and other guys in the industry. Like, what do I do? Statute of limitations probably up. I totally screwed that one up. Suck up the carpet, rip out pad, a fan for a day or something. You call it good, But we all have our own injury, our own path that we run. But what I did was it piqued my interest. It tickled my brain, is what my wife said. And so I started learning at that time. This was 96 is kind of when I first started. And then I heard about a hillbilly out in Tennessee named Chuck DeWald.
Guy with the baseball bat, right?
No, back then that's not Chuck Jr., Chuck the dad.
Senior.
Chuck Jr. was still in high school back in the day.
Got it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was just a high schooler at the time, and then his other brother Jamie, who was really smart too, and they would come in and over the years as I've had a relationship with Chuck the dad, it was, but yeah, Chuck the dad came in, he had a ponytail, boots, cargo shorts on, and played an intro to General Patton. I was tired, when they this was pre-internet, 98 I think is what it was. They said fly into Asheville. But we heard Nashville. So we flew into Nashville, and then we had to drive 4 hours. Tennessee is a really long state. Yep. Nashville's here. And
Asheville's on the other side.
Well, not even Asheville. They were in Knoxville area.
Oh, wow.
And so we pulled an all-nighter. Me and Buddy drove all night in the middle of the night over there. And then when I get there, I was just thinking about this. The guys I met, OGs of the industry. Cliff Zlotnick was in there. Rachel Adams. Andy with John Don, Larry Carlson, Craig Kersmeyer, all these titans of industry. I'm just a snot-nosed 20-something-year-old kid with my hair on fire. And I got a bunch of really cool mentors out of that, and I was able to really maintain a relationship. Kurt Bolden might have even been in that class too. I don't remember.
Wow.
But yeah, it was one of the first classes that Chuck did, and kind of started my journey and kind of piqued me on that one.
Wow.
So did carpet cleaning for a while and really focused on carpets and floods.
Mm-hmm.
Then early 2000s, I was doing floods.
Mm-hmm.
My buddy was doing, an adjuster friend of mine started Titan Restoration.
Hmm.
He'd seen all the checks, the adjusters, right? Like these are big checks. Like, hey, they think like most adjusters that when you write a big check, they all get to come to the contractor because we drive these big fancy trucks and stuff. And so I did the MIT and he did the recon, and we kind of referred back and forth. And then he realized that like when you write an estimate, you have to do what's on the estimate.
Mm-hmm.
And so he suckered me into buying it from him. And so we changed our name. I was Flood Pro at the time. I changed it to Titan Restoration at that time.
That explains the Instagram handle then at Flood Pro.
So I was Flood Pro. That was me. I was the Flood Pro for a long time. But Titan had the contractor's license, so I changed it to then.
Got it.
And then 2005 is when we went full service.
Wow.
Along the way, just kind of grew. We'll get into it, but part of the reason I grew and the reason I was built intentionally was like my kidney issues. I was diagnosed early 2000 on that, and so I knew I was going to need to go have a transplant eventually,
Mm-hmm.
and so I had to build a team that could survive or manage whatever. So, but I had a ticking time bomb. I didn't know when that was going to happen. Luckily, I had a lot of time to do it because early on, I don't think the team would have done as well.
Mm-hmm.
But as we grew, we were able to do it, and then 2021, we branched out and went to opened up a Tucson office, and then in 2024 is when we went to our Northern Arizona office and got about 70 employees between the 3 locations, just doing a lot of work and minimal TPA. So,
wow, what percentage of your work is TPA versus non-TPA?
10% maybe.
Got it.
But it's strategic TPA is the way I call it.
Got it. Like what, like the Pures of the world?
Yeah, so like Pures with Core.
Yep.
On that TPA, so we're part of that TPA and on that one. So.
Mm-hmm.
They were with Sedgwick prior to that, so we were on with Sedgwick, but Pure sent us work, Sedgwick didn't.
Got it.
Relationship, so it was good.
Got it. Nice. And what would you say is the catalyst to the growth?
The catalyst is me trying to outgrow the business. So I had to grow for the business to grow. Like every system you have is optimized for the system that you created.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you want a better system, you got to change the way you operate and your mindset.
Can you describe maybe something that worked when you were 3 to 5 million that didn't work when you're 10 to 15 million?
Yeah, you just start taking hats off and handing them to people. So when you're 3 to 5 million, you can manage that a lot yourself. You and maybe an office person or an EA or something, and just you're out on the field, you're doing a lot of stuff. But like what I really did is right after I got diagnosed, I reached out to Phil Rosebrook and said, hey, I don't want to reinvent the wheel with business mentors, and let's build this. This is what I want to build. And so back then I think it was $1.5 million or so in revenue, and just most I'll admit. And I'm like, I want to build this to $5 million, and then we'll sell it, and I'll be like able to retire. So that was our original goal. We're going to build it $5 million and then retire. And so it was just worked with the Rosebrooks for a long time, and we just kept evolving and kept changing different consultants, and it's easier to like instead of reinvent the wheel, just follow somebody who already had like here's my wheel, borrow it, run with it for a while. And so
who not how problem, right?
Yeah, it's a who not how problem. Yeah. Get a guide, not a coach or a business, mentor or whatever. Get a guide. Somebody's already been there and they can take you there. So
So tell me more about the kidney issues. At what point did the ticking time bomb say it was time to go, and what was that like?
So it's been a long process. So one of my State Farm agents back in the day when I marketed agents, she said, hey, I want to sell you a life insurance policy. You got a couple of kids, you should need a policy. So I went and got a life insurance test policy, and you failed. I'm like, I don't like that. I'm like, whatever, we won't worry about it. She's like, you should probably get it checked out. So, and that was when I was originally diagnosed with, it's called IgA nephropathy or Berger's disease. It's an autoimmune disease that clogs the filters of the kidneys.
Wow.
So I went and got that checked out. Doctor said, the first doctor, verified what it was and said, hey, you're fine, don't worry about it. And then about a year and a half later, I'm like, head's hurting, my eyes are pounding, I can feel the heartbeat in my eyeballs. And so I went into the emergency room and they're like, you're in kidney failure right now. I'm like, oh, that sounds exciting. And so that point, I was like, okay, this is kind of, it was kind of a really eye-awakening. And I met a really great doctor who was able to basically take me out of kidney failure and get me just out of kidney failure. So on a percentage-wise, like it's called GFR, but I look at it as a kidney function percentage. I was like 25%.
Wow.
So it's really low. When you're at 20% or below, then you get on the transplant list. At 16 below is when you get dialysis. So I was like right on the edge there.
Wow.
And they were thinking, oh, we'll see what we can do on the edge, and then, you know, we'll go that route. But so that started my journey way back then. And so that's when I was reaching out to Rosebrook, started building it, started working on that way, and then built it up. And then 2021 is kind of when my kidneys, I think they just started getting tired. They're working on such a low function, they just got tired, and so my kidney numbers started to drop. And, you know, they'd move slowly, and it wasn't too bad. But then when was it? Early 23, I probably pushed off a little bit. Like summer 22, they were like, hey, you should go on dialysis. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I kind of pushed back on it because it was motorcycle season in the wintertime in Phoenix. So I'm like, I didn't know what that was going to look like. So I'm like, we're going to do motorcycle season. When motorcycle's over in March, then we'll go in and do it. And so I went in March and did dialysis. And I did a home dialysis. So they put a tube in your stomach and you connect to this machine at night. And based on your numbers, they pump fluid into your stomach cavity, and it sits there and it attracts all the waste and toxins in your body, and then they pump it back out. And so for me, it ended up being I needed 5 cycles like that. So they pumped like three water bottles into you, and it sits there for like 90 minutes, and then you pump it out. And that's like, and for me, it was 11 hours. It was like 5 or 6 cycles at 11 hours. And so I'd connect at like 6 or 7 at night. And then based on whenever I connected up, it'd be done, you know, 5, 6 in the morning. After a couple of months, like I developed like a bad reaction, I think. So, you know, you can't sleep from 6 to 8, 6 to 9, but 9 to midnight I would fall asleep finally. And about midnight, 1 o'clock, I would get, my skin felt like it was crawling. You get like restless legs. Mind you, I'm connected to this tube. It's 20-something feet long enough just to get to the bathroom, and, you know, you're stuck in your room. And so I did a lot of doom scrolling, a lot of YouTube, a lot of just like stuff like that. But I couldn't sleep from like literally from midnight till 5. And when I disconnected at 5, my body relaxed and I could fall asleep. And so then I'd fall asleep from about 5 till 11, 5 till noon. And then after that, it'd be like, okay, so from noon to 5 or noon to 6, whenever I need to reconnect up, what do I do with my life? Family, friends, work, what does that look like? And so that's when I really started leaning heavy on the team. You know, leading up to that time, I'd spent a lot of time with coaches. Sammy, who's amazing, she's been with me 13 years. She started as a COO in 2020-ish. Wow. And so she really managed the team, and then the team kind of all reported to her. And at that point, like you read about in the books, you're like, hey, pay your guys a lot of money and then get out of their way. I had to get out of their way, but I was also not available by phone. That's the other part of getting out of the way. You can't be available because they can still reach out. Hey, Alex, what do I do? And they didn't know if I was awake, asleep. They didn't want to bother me. And so they were like, well, I got to figure it out. Like, if you have your core values, your sandbox, and your things, you can say, all right, where do you want to be? And so they can make their decisions. And I saw a lot of growth in them around that too. So,
So one of the things, so I guess a key takeaway on leadership, and we'll dive in more later, but just give people outcomes, tell them how they're going to be compensated for said outcomes, and then let them figure it out, even if it takes longer or slower. They might not do it as fast as you, as quick as you.
Hey, 80% is great, right?
Yeah. 80% done by somebody else, 100% freaking perfect.
Yeah, 100% freaking great.
So after dialysis, you end up obviously getting a new
dialysis, yeah. So while I was going through dialysis, we started the transplant process also at that time. And then my brother, earlier on when they thought I needed a kidney, like when I was first diagnosed, 20-some years ago, he was a match. And so at that time I got well enough that I didn't need it, so I got kicked off the list, which was nice. Looking back, I'm like, that kind of sucks, but it's kind of nice. I was able to just kind of, I was able to maintain lifestyle with my OEM parts, but then, so we had to go through the whole process all over again, and so it still took like 9 months for me and him to go through the process to make sure I was fit enough or strong enough to do that. And it's kind of interesting. Like, I think I hold the record for 2 records at the clinic. Like, one of the things is you have to sit in a chair and then stand up, sit up, stand up. Like, see how many times you can do that in like 30 seconds. I'm like jumping up and down, like,
because you want the kidney.
yeah. I'm like, hey, yeah. And then like they're like, okay, we're gonna get in the hallway and you gotta walk to me. I said, do you want me to run? Like, no, just walk. So I had to walk like really fast, like, it's kind of some really like weird things. But I was in really good shape at the time, even though I was sick. I was still trying to do a lot of workout stuff. But yeah, so it was a little bit crazy around there.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that you were able to get the new kidney and that you're here with us because you bring a lot of value to the industry. So.
Appreciate that. So yeah, it was March 24 is when I got the kidney. Nice. World Kidney Day, March 13th. So.
Oh wow, nice.
Got a second birthday.
Yeah, third kidney right up in
front.
front.
Yeah. I got they just bolted on. Like I got a bolt on right here and just.
Nice. There you go. And now you're good. Like no more issues.
Yeah.
No more dialysis.
And so now like my kidney function is at 75-ish.
Okay. Nice.
Which 3 times what I've been for 20-some years. I'm like, ooh, this is what normal
Nice.
Like this is the way I felt after drinking a Red Bull or 2 back in the day. Don't drink Red Bull. It's not good for you.
Interesting. Very nice. Cool. So I think that's awesome that the team was able to thrive. And I think key takeaways, kind of recapping, is find a mentor, give people outcomes, and get out of their way.
That and have an operating system for your business.
What is your operating system?
So we use Scaling Up.
Okay.
So this is the one we really used. And so we use Scaling Up, kind of gives you the checks and balances, a meeting cadence, everything else. And it kind of helps you with as entrepreneurs, restoration guys, most of us just grew up in the business. We didn't grow up as businessmen or learn a lot of these things. So gives you a really good cadence. I wouldn't recommend Scaling Up for most. It's a little bit too robust. That was the one we encountered before EOS. EOS is amazing.
Yeah. Okay. So something like EOS, OKRs, whatever you guys pick.
Just something that gives you like a structure. Entrepreneurs, we got like some type of TISMs, a bunch of letters, and 80, we're all over the place.
Yep.
Just some type of structure that your team can follow to help you stay accountable to.
Yeah. Awesome.
But yeah, we grew 30% while I was out.
Wow.
So.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think, as entrepreneurs, you have 2 options. You could do it now by, when you have the option to do it, or you could do it when you're forced. Like for me, when I got in the hospital with COVID, I was just pulled out of my business and then thrown into this jail cell for freaking 4 months. And it's like, you could either, you can get forced to do it like I was, or you could just do it when you're not forced and you have way more time and you can do it the way you want. Yeah. So, interesting. So tell me more about, the big win that just happened this year for Titan.
Yeah. So, okay. So it all leads into the kidney thing too. So going into March 24th is when we knew the date. We knew it was coming up. And so we had to plan, like you have to make sure all the estate planning and like all the what ifs, all the, hey, if I don't wake up, my brother doesn't wake up, like what do we do? And I've seen different businesses or different instances where people, like the husband will die and the wife is like, oh, it was his business, it's a legacy, we're going to just run it right into the ground. They don't mean to, they just don't have the skills or the capabilities to do it. And so, I was almost I called it a semi-forced exit is the way we're looking at it. Like, hey, if I don't wake up, this is what happens, here's the rules, this is what the family needs, and then, how do we structure it everywhere else? And so when I got it back out and surgery and everything went fine, we're like, okay, let's plan this next one. And so we went through a bunch of different iterations. We looked at a bunch of different options. We looked at the ESOP route. We looked at strategic. We looked at PE, family office, all of those, and sat down with the team and said, hey, what does this look like for a good outcome for all of us? It can't be good just for me. Like, we're all friends. We're all in the same neighborhood. I can't just show up and say, hey, Alex, appreciate all the hard work. I'm great. Like, enjoy the new, sorry you lost your job or got cut or let go. And so we really planned that and we're strategic about it and did a whole process through that. And as we were able to do that, we found some good partners in a St. Louis company called Agellus Capital.
Okay.
So,
nice. Yeah. So what does Agellus do? Do they buy specifically in restoration? Is this their
we're
first?
their fourth. We're their
fourth?
fourth different vertical.
Okay.
So they've got landscape, they've
Got
got fire life sciences,
Nice.
and they've got managed IT services.
Got it.
And then we're their first one in the restoration space.
That's exciting.
And so we're excited about that. We intentionally planned that. A lot of our
Mhm.
employees are like, "Oh, we're selling. When are we getting fired?" You know, type
Mhm.
thing. You hear
Mhm.
the P. Just
Yeah, yeah.
it's like buying a used car or going to
Yeah.
a P guy. You know,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
P guy is just going to come in and cut heads and
Yep.
roll.
Yeah. And you're still maintaining your role as the CEO of Titan, right?
I am staying.
Got it.
So
That's awesome.
I'm staying around. The team's staying around. Like
Nice. It's
we're like,
exciting.
hey, I've always been about creating opportunity for my team,
Mhm.
and we couldn't grow fast enough to create the opportunities. So
Mhm.
now we have a partner that's going to help us grow fast enough that has the capital to do that.
That's
He
awesome.
can help us with the resources.
That's great.
Now we can really raise the tide.
That's exciting. I can't wait to follow along and see what that journey looks like with, you said Agellus, right?
Agellus.
Agellus. Got it.
Agellus.
Nice.
Weird name,
Interesting.
but it works.
Yeah. Interesting. Cool. Another thing I want to tackle on is I think what you and I really connected over, and I think it was at the core conference a year ago where you were telling me about your hypothesis, I'll put it, because it hasn't yet been proven. But you're like, Alex, what's your revenue per employee? And I think I shot it out like, hey, about like 200 and some. And then you were like, mine's at, I think, 500 and some. And you're like, but I'm not done yet. I think that this industry can get to $1 million to $2 million of revenue per employer, something like that, right? It was the BHAG that you told me.
Yeah.
And you said that there was a key driver behind that hypothesis. So I guess, yeah, just kind of, unwrapping this. And I think this ties into your involvement within tech, your thought leadership in tech. But I'd like to cover that hypothesis, your belief in it, maybe if you've changed your views a little bit on it, because I think this would be very interesting to our audience members.
Oh, okay, that's a lot to unpack. So I am really like my Achilles heel is the bright shiny tech. Like, what's the
Mhm.
new tech stuff?
Mhm.
We've always run a pretty decent business. So I'm going to caveat it. Not all businesses are like ours.
Mhm.
So if you do a lot of self-performing
Yep.
work and reconstruction, especially, like
Yep.
we self-perform MIT and we sub out a lot of MIT
Mm-hmm.
reconstruction. So I'm going to caveat it that
Yep.
you're not going to be able to get there, but
Yep.
you'll need to find your benchmark. You won't be able to get there if you're self-performing.
Makes sense.
So, but yeah, so we've been looking at that as a revenue per employee, and we slipped a little bit, but we're like 475-ish. That's one of the
Nice.
metrics I look at.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were always, we started tracking this a while ago, and at the time Apple was like 400,000. We're like, dude, we want to be like Apple.
Nice.
We want to do that. And so
Yeah. And now with AI, unfortunately.
yeah.
that-
I don't know what their revenue per employee is now, but they're probably they're all crushing us. And there's
Yeah.
a couple of 1-2 person billionaire
Oh, yeah.
companies that have already
Yeah.
started to come out, like
Cursor and Manus and all those.
Well,
Yeah. So.
Pete Steinberger. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how much OpenAI paid him, but
Yeah.
it was a lot of money for
Yeah.
what he was doing, and he's just
Exactly.
a one-man show.
Yep.
So
Yep.
open
Yep.
source.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my thing. So what I did is Cameron Harold wrote a book called Vivid Vision,
Mm-hmm.
and so 5 years is too long. So you look at 3 years. You
Mhm.
set a three-year vision of what does your company feel like, look like,
Mhm.
seem like, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not about how to get there. It's just like, hey, what does this look
Mhm.
like? So you can kind of project something. It's a lot of it's for the employees. We use
Mhm.
it also in our recruiting. Like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, read this out. If this
Mhm.
scares the crap out of you, like,
You're not.
and
a right
you're
fit.
out, then
Yeah.
we're not the right fit.
Yeah.
If you're like, it still scares me, but I'm like, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Like, it's meant to repel and it's meant to attract.
Yep.
And so we were looking at that. We're like, okay, we want to 4x our employee revenue per employee.
Mm-hmm.
And like, even on top of that, like, we want to 4x our revenue per employee, and I want my employees working 30 hours a week. Like, like
Wow.
that's almost like, that's the mentality that I'm going, because they all hear AI that I'm like, I want
Yeah.
you guys to get paid more. I want you to work less, and I want
Yep.
you to like just provide way more value.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really something that I've been looking at. Like, you're not going to be able to do it the same way we're doing.
Mhm.
And and it's, if we were to do it the same way we're doing, we're going to incrementally get better.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to
Same
drastically
way,
change
meaning
it.
like higher ticket sizes,
Yeah,
different
higher
revenue
ticket
streams
size,
and stuff like
electric
that.
vehicles instead of
Yeah,
gas, or like
yeah.
what's a 1 or 2% increase
yeah.
or something you can do. But like,
So
to
what's
go
the
4x,
exponential one?
Yeah, that's the one we're really like, to do exponential. You got to think like crazy, and
Mhm.
so a lot of it is going to have to deal around the technology. And
Mhm.
is it possible?
Mhm.
Like, I'm watching that. Like, you know, a lot of what we don't think or what we do think is possible is kind of really crazy. Like there's robots doing roofs, shingles. I'm seeing them do a tile, drywall guys. There's robots doing some pretty crazy stuff. And you and I talked about this. I'm like, I asked you and I'm like, hey, what do you think about robots? How quick? You're like, 5 years or something.
Yeah.
And then we talked.
You said they're right there. I don't know. And then after our conversation, we've been following. Optimus hasn't launched yet. They're delaying there. The Figure 3 still isn't available. So yeah, I think it's shorter term than 5 years.
Yeah. Have you put an order on any of those yet? Like
you can't.
Neo, the Neo one you can.
Neo? Okay.
That one looks weird. It's got like a weird cloth
Yeah.
skin on it.
The
like
only ones I found that you
I
could
like.
buy is the little dogs, and then the use case for the little dogs is like 3D imaging, LiDAR, stuff like that. But I don't know if that's very helpful to deploy a dog to your job site to go scan a place.
Turner Construction's using it.
Yeah.
So in their large commercial construction, they have one, but they had the Boston Dynamics dog with like a Leica black on top, and it just twice a day, like during the day and at night, it walks the whole project and gets a 3D scan of it. Like,
wow.
You know, but that's not quite restoration ready, but that's something that we can, you know, look forward to.
Yep.
I think the dogs will be something that'll be a little bit quicker. You'll be able to get it in there, and if it has thermal and LiDAR, like it'll go in and do a quick moisture map for you and do a 360 scan for you. Done.
Yeah.
They're only $1,200-$1,500. They're
Exactly.
$3,000 or something.
Yeah, and I think like the humanoid's probably gonna be 30 to 40 grand is like what it looks like they're pricing it at.
That's what they're all
QE3,
shooting for, is
same
a 20 to
thing.
30,
Yeah.
depending on. But I mean, 30. Okay, so 30 grand. If you get 1 year use out of it, that's a $15 an hour employee. But if you
Exactly.
break it down, it's like even less than that.
Exactly.
So
So what do you envision it doing? Like
initially, I would see it as a really good helper for a technician.
carry trash up to the truck, carry equipment down.
In and out. Like you would use it. You would take it like your normal, like your helper. You're going to walk them through the project, kind of look at it. But at the same, while you're walking through, it can be taking photos. It's doing all the documentation.
Yep.
You know, maybe it's holding a thermal hygrometer. Maybe it's got one built in. I don't know.
Yep.
You know, it can do a lot of that, but it's not going to forget it.
Yeah.
And then it can use AI to kind of synthesize it the way it needs to be done, make sure it's S500 compliant, the whole 9 yards.
Yep.
But it'll also have, at that point, it'll be like a, I don't know. We'll have to figure out, IICRC will probably have to come up with a pricing model, but at that point you can download the entire IICRC thing to it, and it'll be a better carpet tech, water master, like 42 master, whatever they call it.
Yep.
You know, maybe it'll get its CR or something.
Yeah. You could ask it as a technician, hey, I'm running into this. What is this?
Yeah.
Right? It'd kind of be like ChatGPT or Manus on steroids. So interesting. What about on the back end? Any use cases you see? Like some people have been tinkering around with the idea of AI scoping and AI estimating, like take a 360 scan and get an estimate done. What do you think about that?
It's coming. Like, it'd be naive to think it's not. We're using Rebuild right now, which is like a voice to scope.
Yep.
So I think that's the first iteration. I don't know if we'll ever get to where you'll be completely, like you can go in and do a Matterport or a DocuSketch or some one of those types of. I don't think you'll ever 100% be able to get there. There'll still be some type of in-person element, whether that's a human or a humanoid robot.
Yep.
Like, it's still hard to tell like how thick the drywall is,
Yep.
or some of these little nuances that are there. But I
Yeah.
think it'll get, I think if you can get it 80-90% of the way, and you can just get a guy that can kind of do it. But you also get to a point where the skill set needed by the human becomes less and less and can be more guided by the AI.
Yep.
And so you don't need somebody who's built, X amount of houses or been in restoration or anything for hundreds of years in order to be proficient.
Yeah, we're going down that rabbit hole of some sort of like AI scoping, and the thing that I realize with other solutions is like you have to control the data that goes in. So, other competitors out there are saying, hey, like give it photos or give it whatever. But then when you have garbage data, the AI hallucinates. We're like, no, the data should be structured. Like give it a pre-mit scan and a post-mit scan. And then, yes, I think it's absolutely necessary to get some sort of voice diction in there too. So I envision like when the technician walks through the loss to basically tell the camera while they're scanning what they did in every single spot. And then that's how you can get those blind spots and then cross-reference the notes, cross-reference to dry logs. But even all that, I think in the short run might only be useful for mitigation. Reconstruction is just super complex and the different types of materials and such.
I think you use it a little bit differently. You can still do a lot of reconstruction that way too, through the voice and do those types of stuff. But you also have to look like how the industry has evolved. Like I've been at 30 years. When I started, we were using disposable cameras from Walgreens, and then we went to like the 3.5 like solid disc. Like a Kodak came with one, you could slide it in the side, and you had this disc that could take a few pictures. And then you're like, ooh, and then they got to SD cards. Now we got our camera phones and different things, but it's just going faster and faster. Like it's this in the industry. When I first started, like we were running Exactly on DOS.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it's like ooh.
Yeah.
And you wait, like it came out once a quarter, the day the pricing update.
Yeah. Wow. Huh. Interesting.
So, but that's kind of, I think everybody sees it. Verisk has a lot of money. Quitalia has a lot of money. There's a lot of players in this industry that realize that the talent, labor and talent is currently a constraint. With the robots, it becomes less of a constraint. But institutional knowledge is something that's a constraint. And passing that on from adjusters are a lot of my age. There's not a whole lot of them that are like fresh out of college.
Yep.
Nobody, too many people saw The Incredibles, never want to grow up to be an adjuster. So
yeah, not the shiniest job.
Yeah.
Although there's a lot of money to be made as an adjuster or even as a restorer compared to other professions. But where do you think the tech ecosystem falls short? Where are some areas of opportunities that you think need to level up?
Great question.
Specifically in restoration.
I think one of the beautiful things we're dealing with is the carriers, as much money as they have, they're going to be slower to adopt. They have too many, like, it's like turning a battleship around. They just have so much bureaucracy, so many things to do. They have so many rules, regulations, attorneys, committees, everything else. So contractors can be a little more nimble on that. I think there's some solutions that are being presented to the carriers, basically around claim review type stuff. It's simple, easy. Hey, estimate A, estimate B, compare and contrast. Exactly, been doing that forever. Like you run it in there and you look at it like, oh, there's green stuff here. It means they changed, They're doing what the EULA says you can do. You can change the price, but we don't like that. But like, based on current technology, I think there's, I don't know, because it's so many new use cases right now. I think the job management systems are doing good. None of them are perfect. They all suck in one way or another, but none of them are perfect. But like being able to add an AI component to the job management system that then creates a little less friction for your field employees. So that's where you really run into it, is like how quickly can you onboard a field tech, and how well does the AI or the intelligence associated with the job management coach them and guide them through the system. So that's really like a really shortfall area. But then that also helps with being able to bring your techs up to speed a whole lot faster, because you can say, oh, here's my readings, and then the AI would say, hey, Alex, that's a great DU output reading, but it's not working. Can you check the machine or check your reading? Did you let it acclimate long enough? Like it gives it some different things that instead of just putting it on and then actually hearing about it when the goes through the adjuster or that way. So
interesting. I think AI is going to become the new UI. Like instead of a user interface of buttons to click and us having to train people how to use systems by creating manuals of click here and then click here, it's just going to turn into just chat with this thing and this thing will do stuff for you. It'll guide you and such.
You're going to have a CLI, like a cloud CLI that's right there, and that's all they're going to that's all they're going to do. They're going to talk, and it can talk back, or like the way we all use chat or cloud right now. But that's the way I see it. And then on the back end, you'll still have your office staff or the people that are crunching numbers or digging in, but field guys shouldn't have to do anything but just talk here and click.
Makes sense. Awesome. Well, what is one thing that, as we're coming to wrap here, let's say there's a restorer early on, they're listening to this podcast and they're looking for advice. They're trying to grow their business. What's the number one thing you want to leave them with?
Interesting. I just had this conversation. We were sitting down in the opening session. Met a guy named Jake who's started a company and hasn't bought an air mover or anything else. He went and got his certifications and is like, hey, how do I do this? I'm like,
is he out of Tennessee by chance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you meet
His
him?
buddy was with Russ Pros.
Yeah.
I met him last night at our Albi
Okay.
dinner. Yes, he's meeting the right people. Go, Jake.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
that's the big thing. Like, come to an event like the RIA. Like,
Yeah.
come here and you can meet dudes that have been in it for 30 years. They
Mhm.
may be a little bit jaded, but there's a
Yeah.
little bit of wisdom in there. You can kind of glean out of them. But like just in the few minutes I was talking to him, I introduced him to another buddy of mine, Gabe.
Yeah.
Gabe from Gabe Matthews from
Oh, he's here?
San Diego.
Oh,
Yeah, he's
awesome.
here.
Yeah.
He comes walking up, hey bro, what's up?
Yeah. That's
But
awesome.
he got 2 contacts
Yeah.
really quickly with some dudes that are really seasoned
Yeah.
and just like
Willing to help and willing to share.
that's
Yeah.
that's gonna propel you so much faster. But learn to network, learn that, and then learn how to run a business. Don't get too caught. Like a lot of people just get caught up in operator mode.
Yeah.
Understand that you're gonna have to be an operator, but the goal is to get out of operator as fast as possible and really start running and really learn to run a business and get a business operating system. I tell that everybody's like, what do I do? Do you have a business operating system? No, go get one. Go do that. So then it gives you some structure around how to build a business. Usually involves getting a coach or somebody along with that, and you can find different people along the way.
Yeah.
And then get some mentors like, hey, who do I want to be like? And what do I want my company? If I want it to be like, I want mine to be like Alex's, where do I go? Like, how do I, Alex, how do I get some time with you, or what does that look like?
Yep. Awesome.
And that's the best way to do it. Like setting a fan down and doing that can all be taught, but it's really showing up. How do you create a better leader for yourself that then creates a better leader for your employees?
Love that. Well, if somebody has questions and wants to find you, where can they find you? If they need an hour of your time.
I'm hard to find.
Yeah.
Every now and then I'm on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I don't do a whole lot of socials either, but just find you, just Google Titan Restoration of Arizona and just call the office. That's the easiest way. We're in Mesa, Arizona. I'm just usually there.
Nice. Awesome.
Come to, I'm usually here at the RIA.
Yeah.
Come to find me. Come
Nice.
up. And,
You're a core, right?
yeah, we're a core
Experience.
also.
Or you gonna go to
Experience.
Heard it's getting better this year. So.
Is it?
I
It's
heard
in
it.
Vegas, so it's always quick. It's like,
Yeah. Well, yeah, we met up actually. You came up to
yeah,
the
we
experience
hung out at
yeah.
Caesars
Yeah.
for a while, but
Yeah.
it's gotten much better. It's
Yeah.
gotten less carpet focused, more
Yeah.
restoration focused. So it has gotten better, but
Nice.
it was a show that I kind of I overlooked a lot.
Yep.
But I've been going more and more. Like it's just a quick flight. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Nice and
there's
easy.
7 this week. Let's go. So,
Yeah. Nice. Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks so much. I'm really honored to have you here as a guest and looking forward to building together.
it's super fun. Appreciate it. Thanks, Alex.